Welcome back to the Lumbridge Lounge. We're back at you with another guide video. Today we're going to be looking at the most useful Runelite plugins in our opinion here in 2022. My name's the Baron and I'm here with Carter.
What's up?
And let's get right into this. But before we get going, this is a quick disclaimer. This isn't every single plugin that is useful in the game. This is what we think is the most useful that makes the playing experience good. But there are definitely more plugins out there. This is just a general overview of Runelite and the plugins that you might want to start out with. So let's start off with the first one. The first plugin that we're going to be talking about is called Ground Markers. With Ground Markers in your plugin hub here, within the settings you can change different things. I usually keep it pretty bland. I don't think I've really changed anything. The basic thing is that you're able to leave notes for yourself in different places of the game. I'm going to come back at you with two examples coming right at you. Now for our first example, you can basically leave just notes in different places for yourself. This one is just telling us what prayers and what specs to use at Corporeal Beast. And to do this, to place these markers down like this, you hold shift and you right click to mark tile. So I can do a mark right there. And then if I want to leave a note, I can shift right click and label that tile with whatever I want, just like that. Now another way we use ground markers is to indicate where we'd like to click. So here I am at Hallowed Sepulchre, and here are different markers to tell me where to click, just so that I don't have to think as much at this place, so I can get straight through the traps. So with like bosses and different things like that, it'll help you find like safe spots and different things like that. And yeah, that's the basics of ground markers.
Another really useful plugin that is, in my opinion, my absolute favorite plugin is called the Inventory Setups, and you can see it right here on the side. It is awesome. So if you have it enabled, you will be able to set up all kinds of different gear setups as much as you want. And so you can find it on the sidebar right here. When you click on it, as you see, I have so many different setups on my scroll bar. And what's really cool is when you have these saved, when you want to return to that activity, you're able to just get right back in. So I'll show you an example real quick. So here I am running to the bank, and let's say I wanted to do Barrows Run. So I saved this Barrows Run already. So what's going to happen is I need to just click on this little eyeball here to view the setup that I've already made. And now that it's set up, as long as I have this filter, enable bank filtering on, I'll be able to see my bank move exactly to what I have set up here. So I can just take everything out of my equipment and backpack, and all I got to do is just click on everything that the bank is showing me, because that's what I have set up already. And instead of having to go through all my different tabs and all these different setups that I can make in my bank, all I have to do is just set up this plugin so that I can easily just click on all of my items here, and just like that, within seconds I'm already ready for Barrows. And if I wanted to make my own inventory setup from scratch, let's say I want to save a setup of this fashionscape that I have on as an inventory setup. So all I would have to do is click on this plus sign at the top to add a new inventory setup. I have to enter the name. I'll just put fashionscape. Press OK. It'll usually be at the very bottom. There it is. You want to make sure you enable this bank filtering button so that it actually changes your bank interface, so that when you click on this eye and then click on my bank, there's all the stuff that I'm wearing right now. And I could just deposit all my stuff, put it right back on, and just like that, I just saved so much time in getting my next gear ready for the next activity that I want to do.
The next plugin we're going to be talking about is That Man Just Died. All right, so the next plugin that we're going to be talking about is the Skill Calculator. So if you'll see on the side here, this calculator button right here is your skill calculator. This isn't any ordinary calculator. You could be able to take your skills and be able to find goals for later on. So for example, with this skill calculator, we can go to, say, wood cutting. Say I want to grind out wood cutting and I want to start being able to cut redwoods as soon as possible. So I want to set a goal for myself. Say right now my current level is 87 and I want to go to 90 so I could be able to cut redwoods. Here's my starting progress, my starting experience that I have right now, and here's my target experience that it shows you. And say I want to do kind of an AFK method, say U logs. It tells you the exact amount of U logs that I'd need to cut to be able to get to that level. So it's really nice for grinds, say like herb lore, where you need to buy a lot of stuff to be able to get through to your goals, or like smithing or crafting or anything like that. Like your buyables, it's really nice to be able to buy the things you need, or even to be able to see how much more you need to do for that skill.
Another really useful plugin is called the inventory grid. When you have this enabled, you'll be able to drag anything in your inventory and it'll show up this grid, which will easily allow you to place that item in any of these slots. If you've played this game long enough without this plugin, you'll realize that sometimes you miss the spot. For example, I turn this off. You want to put it here, but you accidentally, cut. Just kidding. When you put it and drag it, sometimes you'll miss where you want to place it, especially if you're in a really intense moment in a boss or something and you want to swap something real quick. It kind of messes with you if you don't have this enabled, but when you have it enabled, it's easily showing you where that slot will go. It's way more helpful than you think. Try it out. And moving on, another really big plugin that you really should check out is called Menu Entry Swapper. This will create such a huge quality of life to your Runelite and just your overall RuneScape gameplay. If you have this enabled, you definitely want to check out the settings for it. So if you click on it, you'll see there's 4 different categories. I would definitely suggest that you take your time going through every single category and enabling different settings for each category in each section. For example, if you go over to the Grand Exchange and you click on the banker, if you don't have this plugin enabled, you're just going to talk to the banker right away. You're not going to go right into the Grand Exchange, and that can be kind of annoying because none of us want to talk to the banker. We just want to access our bank right away. So if we do this, for example, and we go to our NPC swaps, and we have bank enabled right here, it says swap talk to with bank on bank NPC. So when this is enabled, for example, if you click on the banker, instead of talking to being the first option, it's bank, which is just such a huge quality of life. No one wants to talk to him. So if you click on him, it goes right to your bank. Another really big help with this plugin is for bones. No one wants to bury any bones unless they're in free to play and they're a loser. Just kidding. You want to use dragon. Yeah, so with dragon bones, if I hover my mouse over it, it says use. So there's no way I can bury them unless I right click and then click bury like that. But when you go to item swaps and you go down to bury, see I have this checked here. If you hover your mouse over it, it says swap bury with use on bones, which is just really nice, especially if you're going to use the chaos altar in the wilderness, because you have to use the bone on the altar, use the next bone on the altar. It saves you all kinds of right clicking. So all you got to do is left click and use it on any kind of altar or whatever you're trying to do to raise your prayer. You will not have to worry about accidentally burying your bones in any circumstance. Yeah, definitely play with it. Look through every single thing, find what you like. This is a really big plugin. And for example, when we were looking through it just now, we just discovered that with the Karamja gloves, you can just put it to Duradel, and all you got to do is left click your Karamja gloves in your inventory, and it'll take you straight to that teleport instead of having to right click it, which is awesome.
The next plugin we're going to be talking about is probably one of the biggest plugins that has come out on Runelite, and I would suggest anybody that it has any quests left to be looking at it. It is called Quest Helper. So with Quest Helper enabled, you'll see this icon up here on the side here. You might have to go to the plugin hub. We'll talk about that at the end to get this plugin. But with this Quest Helper on the side right here, when you click on it, you'll have a bunch of different quests. As you can see, I have my quest cape on, so I don't have normal quests, but I do have a few mini quests I haven't done. So let's say I wanted to do the enchanted key right now. All you'd have to do is click on this arrow, and it will tell you where the quest starts or what you need for the quest, like over here, item requirements, recommended items, things like that. and it'll tell you where to start the quest, how to do the quest, and it'll take you step by step. It'll even give you arrows on the mini-map. Let's see if we could get a different quest up here. See this mini-map arrow right there? It'll give you those to direct you in the direction you need to go. So yeah, Quest Helper is awesome. Alongside Quest Helper, there's another awesome plugin that helps you with directing you in the right path called the Clue Scroll plugin. So if you played this game at all, you've probably gotten a clue scroll and sometimes didn't know what to do. With this plugin, it literally tells you where to go and what to do. Alongside the Clue Scroll plugin, there's a Puzzle Solver plugin right here. It'll help you with solving the puzzles within the clue scrolls sometimes. To show an example of this, we're here on Carter's account, just with a few clue scrolls. I didn't have any clue scrolls on my account at this time, so we're using Carter's account. If you just click on the clue scroll, it'll pull up the clue scroll, and it'll tell you exactly what it needs to do. This is a cryptic clue. You need to go to the NPC Lucy, and it's the bartender of the first floor of the Falador party room. So you'd go to Falador, and you'd go talk to Lucy, and she'd give you another clue. Let's go to the medium one right here. It gives you exactly what to do right there. Here's the elite one. Oh, you need these 3 pieces, and you need to go to the Fight Arena pub. And on the mini-map, if we go to the mini-map, back to the RuneScape surface, it'll actually have a clue scroll on the map where you can click on it, and it'll show you exactly where to go. So you'll never be confused where to go with a clue scroll or have to Google and watch videos of people doing clue scroll steps for you. The plugin actually just helps you so much with this. The last plugin we want to talk about in depth or a little further, we have a few honorable mentions after this, is roof removal. So in the in-game settings, you can remove the roofs, don't have to see them at all. But to me, this game has such a charm to it to have the roofs on the buildings. With this plugin, you're able to have your hovered tile, when you hover over a building to go inside, you can hover over the tile and the roofs will disappear for you so that you can see inside and actually click inside. When you don't have this activated or you don't have the in-game settings activated, you can't click inside and have to finagle your way into buildings. This just makes quality of life so much better. So make sure you have this on to make your gameplay so much better.
Another really useful plugin that we both really appreciate is called key remapping. So if you know in the game, if you change your key binds in here in the in-game settings, you can actually set your F keys to go to different tabs in your game. So for example, for prayer, I have it set to F2. So if I press F2, it actually goes to my prayer tab, and it allows me to go to that prayer tab without actually using my mouse to go over and click on prayer. But that's not what this plugin is for. It's so that I can actually remap it, and I can change the key that would actually be my F2 key. So instead of actually pressing F2, I actually press 2 now to go to the prayer book. And you could set any key to that F key that you want. And so for example, the Baron, he actually uses Z, X, and Q for his first F1, 2, and 3 keys. So it really helps you be flexible in what you want to do and how you play. So definitely check this out and figure out what your comfort zone is, because it'll definitely help you be a better PVMer. And if you're not a big fan of putting your hand at the top of your keyboard to press the F keys, this is definitely the plugin for you. Moving on to our honorable mentions, we want to mention a lot of plugins that we don't want to talk too much about, but we really like to use. And the first one is Entity Hider. And this is for situations where you don't want to see other players or pets or things in the game. For example, Wintertot, if there are like 100 people there and you just don't want to see all these people running around, or if your computer can't handle all of that movement, you can go on Entity Hider and actually turn off all the other real players around you, and it's just you, which really makes it quite nice. Another really good one is Idle Notifier. This is if you're doing something else while playing RuneScape, whether it's a game or another RuneScape account. This is so that it kind of notifies you in your windows at the bottom right. It'll tell you that you have now gone idle. So if you're cutting a tree and you've stopped cutting it, but you're focused on something else, it'll tell you when you've stopped cutting the tree. And another great plugin is Agility. If you have that enabled, any agility course you're on, it will actually show you in boxes where you need to click. This makes it very mindless. You can watch a TV show, a movie, do whatever, and you don't really have to think at all. It just tells you where to click. You click on that box, and that's exactly where you need to click to go to the next obstacle.
The next honorable mention that is actually really, really good is called ground items. With ground items, you can see here there's a lot of different things we have in it. When you see stuff on the ground, oh, shit. I pressed shift. I pressed it, I swear. All right, and shift, no, drop. There we go. So you see on the ground here, it says teleport to house. There's 6 of them there. If I press Alt, I can press plus to add like an effect to it to make a even better highlighted item so I can see them better, or I can press minus to it where I don't see it ever again on the ground. So that's what these hidden items are. I'd say play around with it. This is a really good plugin. I really like it a lot because then you could see more important items and also not see items you don't want to see, like a lot of garbage that you get from, say, PVM or from Slayer. The next honorable mention is Loot Tracker. With Loot Tracker, you see this little backpack over the side. It'll tell you with the activities that you're doing, what loot you're getting, how much you're making, and stuff like that. So, like if you're doing a Slayer, or you're doing bosses, or you're even doing like medium clue scrolls, you can see how much you're making, seeing if you're making a profit, losing money, things like that. So, yeah, Loot Tracker is awesome. Pairing with the Loot Tracker, we could talk about Supplies Tracker. So when you're doing different items or different activities in the game, you can refresh this page and you can see how much supplies you're using per activity to really see how much profit or how much loss you're having with your activities. The last 2 honorable mentions are both time related, the first one being time tracking. So here's the settings for time tracking, but we're not going to get quite into that. On the side here, this is what it looks like, time tracking right there. And this shows you a bunch of different things that you can be tracking time with. Say you're doing your tree runs. You can see how long's left for your next tree patch to be ready. So like here, I'm on Carter's account, or not on Carter's account, but on Carter's computer on his Runelite plugin, showing that his gnome stronghold tree is done. So he could go do that. But say he only planted it like half an hour ago, it'd show you how many hours left until that tree would be ready. You could do this for like birdhouses and herbs. You see right here, it even tells you that his Ardoin herbs, whatever he planted there, is dead. So he could go fix that right now and go plant more herbs. The next one is boss timers. Now this one's really simple, but it's really nice for if you're PVMing, especially at like a place like General Grador where you need to be looking at when he spawns again. So when you hover over this, boss timer shows boss spawn timer overlays. So you can be able to see when that boss comes back so you can be prepared for the next run or the next time to kill that boss.
All right, and that about does it for our Runelite plugins. If you guys have any plugins that you guys like that you haven't heard in this video, be sure to put them in the comments below. And just again, we're saying that these are not all the plugins that we love. There are literally dozens and dozens more that we use and appreciate. And we just wanted to mention some of our all-time favorites, and mainly plugins that are useful for almost every aspect of the game. And so thank you guys for watching. We hope you guys enjoy the video. Leave a comment, and we'll see you guys in the next video.